Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I thought today would be a wonderful opportunity for me to share a collection of stories with you. Because I'm a big believer that stories are a wonderful way to transfer language, culture, and wisdom. And we all have stories to share. So it's my absolute privilege to share a few of the stories that have been born within me through my life experience and through the incredible people who have come into my life experience. And it's also my intention today to see if I can leave an impression upon you. And the type of impression that I'm excited about hopefully leaving upon you is like when you're walking on the beach. You know, when you're walking along the beach, just where the water meets the sand, and when you step, you leave a footprint, you leave an impression. And of course, that impression can be seen by other people who walk by in the near future, but soon enough, it's going to wash away, as nature does her beautiful thing. So I invite you to consider yourself a grain of sand in this almighty, beautiful universe as I share some stories with you today and do my best to make a positive impression. Oh, and finally, I also hope that we can have a little fun together. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Wonderful. So, a wonderful and very wise friend of mine who delivered a beautiful presentation here a number of weeks ago started his presentation so beautifully that I thought I would take that trick out of his hat, and I would start today by offering just a little sound. Thank you for sharing those vibrations with me. And so let's get into some storytelling, shall we? And the first story I should share is it's connected to this jacket, but it's also connected to that sound cue. The friend who started his presentation here with a little sound is my very good friend, my very good friend, who also drinks dairy. I don't know if he does. True Guy Stefanovic, Star Horse, who was here with us this afternoon, this morning, and True is one of my closest friends in Alberta, and he came into my life because he was someone who I met on my journey of intentionally meeting strangers that Bob referenced in the introduction. And on this journey, I had the idea that it might be kind of a good idea to meet a new person every day for a month, just to see what would happen. And my business coach at the time said, "Tony, if you want to make an impact with this, don't do it every day for a month. Do it every day for a year." And to which I said, "Karen, you're nuts. That's too much for me. I'll do it." Because often we're presented with challenges in life that seem absurd, but then if we just take that first step, then we discover, oh, well, I can do one day, I can do two, well, I can do 30, maybe I can do 31. And this journey continued. And on day 142, I met True. We were actually, it wasn't the typical meeting that I have with most strangers. It was, I'm just going to set my timer up here so I don't hold you too long. It was an introduction by a mutual friend. But True and I have had a really rich and beautiful friendship with many, many collaborations. And I've had the very good fortune of listening to True's live music many times and had the extremely good fortune of feeling very supported and loved as a friend. because of how we've gotten to know each other and how we've both allowed ourselves to be vulnerable with one another in sharing our life experience and in sharing our stories. And I thought I'd open with the story of having met True along with the sound bowl, because that's just one example of how your life can be positively transformed if you open up and allow other people into it. The next thing I'd like to touch on is why I'm wearing this shiny hat and jacket here. What's going on with that? Well, we were told earlier that we need to shine our light. Right? So I thought this would fit in kind of nicely. But this jacket, I can also say, is a result of a conversation with a stranger. So on day 200 of this project of intentionally meeting people, I was doing a presentation. I was working as the Master of Ceremonies at an event in Calgary, and I was doing a little juggling, and this lovely woman came up to me afterwards enthusiastically, and she said, in a strong Russian accent, she said, "Tony, I want to make a costume for you. Give me your phone number, email." And I was pretty busy with the event, so I actually didn't think too much of the invitation, but I said, "Yeah, thank you, of course. Here's my information." And she followed up with me soon after, and she said, "Tony, I'm going to make you a suit of mirrors." To which I was like, "That sounds great." That's how. And she asked me for my measurements, and I got her measurements, and she made me a full mirror costume, which I've had the very good fortune of performing across Canada and even down in the States, down in Los Angeles. And I guess I should preface that story by the fact that I do a little circus performance. If you see you see this juggling, some of what I do is I perform in a professional circus here in Calgary, and Olga recognized that I had something to share with the movement that I have, and she offered to make me this spectacular costume, which has become a big part of who I am as a performer and also as a storyteller, as a presenter. And again, that's just a gift that came to me as a random conversation with a stranger. Before I continue any further, I'd like to express my gratitude, because gratitude is a part of my daily practice, and I think it's one of the ways I've led a very enjoyable life despite the challenges that have come my way. And so I take time to either think about things that I'm grateful for, or to journal about things that I'm grateful for every day. It's part of my spiritual practice. And what I'm grateful for in this moment is to be sharing these words with you, to be sharing this space with you, to be sharing this land with you, and for us to all be experiencing something together. Not only for the moments when I'm presenting, but also for the moments leading up to now, and the excitement that I had being given this lovely opportunity by Susan, Bob, Katie, to come and speak with you, but also during this time and beyond this time, when we all have a chat, to have some conversations afterward. So I just wanted to express my gratitude for being in this space and sharing this time with you now. And if you don't already have gratitude as a part of your daily practice, your spiritual practice, I invite you to find a way to bring more gratitude into your life, either through journaling, or just sitting in stillness and silence, or perhaps with some soft music on. And make it a daily practice. You could set an alarm on a device like this to say, "Oh, practice gratitude." And see what happens in your life when you practice more gratitude, because my experience has been that really, really beautiful things can happen when you really connect with your own gratitude practice. Mm-hmm. So back to True now. Back to True, my dear sweet friend True. On the day that we met, I was at a stage in my life, so that was back in 2016 when I met True. And I was at a stage in my life when I was very much like these juggling balls here. And by that I mean, let's say I was actually the yellow juggling ball. You see the yellow and black one? Can you see it? Yeah, no, you can't. Okay, there we go. So this yellow juggling ball, it's like someone who's had just way too much coffee. Right? And they're all over the place. The energy is a bit frenetic and excited and maybe even really positive, but this yellow juggling ball just can't seem to get centered. And this is the Tony Esteves that True met on that day 142 of the Talk to More People project. And he still loved me. He still listened to me. But over time, he pointed out to me that, and not in a way of giving advice, not at all, that's not true, as those of you who know him here know that he doesn't teach that way. But just in spending time with him, I discovered that I could benefit from being a little more present. And being present is, of course, probably the main way that I have been able to meet so many wonderful strangers intentionally in my life. Is I put the phone down, off, or out of the room. Research has actually proven that in terms of these devices being a distraction, perhaps when you have meals with friends or family or teenagers, you say, oh, turn the devices over, or have them off the table at least. Well, in fact, by having a device on the table, you are actually still distracted by it. But if you get that device out of sight, like in your pocket, or better yet, out of the room, you will be able to be more present with whatever is happening in the moment. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think, well, if I just turn it over. No, you're still wondering what's going on, even if it's on silent. And so we were talking about technology as our friendship was blooming. But True did help teach me the importance of being present. And since having met over 550 strangers on that journey, I've discovered that was actually a really big part of how I was able to connect with so many people. And it's one little piece of this idea of connecting with people, should you choose to play with it for your own life adventure, is to practice being present. And when you're more present in the presence of other people, first of all by turning off the device, and second of all maybe by having a little less coffee. I don't know what your preferences are, but when you really listen to what someone is saying, when you're in conversation and you look into their eyes and you share that moment with them, you are having what I call, you're experiencing a gift exchange. And it's the most beautiful gift exchange because no money changes hands, no material things change hands, but both people are changed as a result of this present moment, as a result of this gift exchange. And the gift exchange may be something as simple as a new idea. It may be something as simple as a warm, welcoming smile from someone who you don't know when you're not having your best day. And these gift exchanges are available to each of us every day, all the time. But often the busyness of life keeps us from being aware or from being present to these gift exchanges that are available to us. And one really neat way that you can practice this gift exchange or give yourself more exposure to it is to do something that I call talk to more people listening. Now, Talk to More People listening is a concept that is part of the Talk to More People book. And that book, in case you're wondering, it's basically a how to meet people guidebook with a few stories tossed in. And one of the messages in there is around this Talk to More People listening is that you can bring new people into your life more easily by, first of all, being present. And then second of all, just listening to more of what is happening around you. Another way to put it is to intentionally and respectfully overhear, eavesdrop a little bit, what's going on in the conversations that are happening around you. We have this ability as humans that artificial intelligence doesn't yet have, I'm proud to say, and it's called selective auditory attention, also known as selective hearing, right? And I laugh at the back, and I know that we have all used this selective hearing in different ways in our lives. But you have the opportunity to tune in to what those two people are speaking about over at the other table, or what the presenter is saying, or what's going on in my mind. And your brain is able to actually tune other things out and just tune into that. And so if you tune into a conversation that some people are having and you discover they're speaking about something that you can relate to, we have a much better opportunity to sort of chime in, if you feel comfortable, to chime in and say, oh, I just overheard you talking about mountain climbing, and I'm really into mountain climbing. May I ask you a quick question? Or whatever the subject matter is. So if you use this talk to more people listening, which is intentionally and respectfully eavesdropping, when you're being present, you may just find that you stumble into more conversations that you're really interested in, and you meet more people that way. Now, often an objection to this is, well, I'm shy, or I'm nervous. I don't want to seem like I'm being rude. But I want you to consider the very real possibility that when you approach a person or a small group of people, because you want to join the conversation, you are bringing your beautiful gifts to that conversation. And you are opening yourself up by putting yourself out there courageously and finding a way, even if you stumble a few times, finding a way to get into that conversation. You're offering a gift exchange. And what a beautiful, beautiful way to navigate this world. We can get caught up into the fear of thinking that we're going to be inconveniencing someone or being rude. But I can tell you, having met intentionally, literally, more than 3,000 people on my journey, it is extremely rare that you get turned away or told that you're a bother or told to be left alone, as in like less than 1% of the time. And so I do hope that an impression that goes with you today is that you might, in your own way, start to experiment with connecting with more people. Mm-hmm. So another day that I'd like to speak about is day 305. So day 305, my good friend True was playing a concert out near Red Creek, and I was there. I think I was doing a little videography and also just there witnessing him doing his music. And on this night, I saw a young lady who caught my eye, caught my attention. And I sat next to her during the opening meditation, and it was one of those experiences where I felt kind of like a thump in my chest as I sat next to her. There was a physiological response. And so on 305, this is about 10 months into my project of meeting new people, and I hadn't been dating, I hadn't been seeing people for almost all of that time, so I was feeling extra awkward and nervous. But in the middle of the event, there was a potluck, and there was some food being shared, and as I believe each of us in this room know that breaking bread or sharing food together is one wonderful way to connect with people. And so I think over the food, I said something like, hello, how are you enjoying the food? Or how are you enjoying the evening? And that broke the ice, and we got into a conversation. And at the end of the evening, even though I was kind of nervous and stumbling over my words, she let me take her phone and go down. Felt like a teenager. And so I called this person, and we agreed to go to a concert, and we went to some show, and we hit it off. And that was my partner, Renee, who I've now been with for more than 5 years. Aww. And she is the absolute love of my life. She is a complete sweetheart, and she has shared so many of her gifts with me through our partnership, around being present, around being connected to nature, around growing food, and being really mindful about how you experience conversations and how you hold space with other people. And so Renee's also helped slow my life down and make me become a more grounded, better version of myself. And in speaking with Renee about what have we shared with each other, she's often shared that I brought a bunch of play into her life, if you can imagine. And Renee's a beautifully soft-spoken person. She was here a little bit earlier with her mother Erica, but they needed to have some more space when the situation was there. Still dealing with a pretty challenging family situation, so they had to leave. But they did come to support me to start. And I also met Erica on day 305 of my project, because she was there when Renee was there. So what a kickstart to a relationship, the day that you meet someone and you meet her mother on the same day. And we've been having wonderful adventures ever since. In fact, we just got back from a 6-day road trip into British Columbia. We just got back yesterday, and we were doing a hot springs tour. It was just so lovely and very much needed. So that's another story that I wanted to share with you that came up on this journey of intentionally meeting strangers. Now, I wouldn't suggest to anybody else that you go and meet a new stranger every day for a year. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. And at the time, I was pretty active on social media, so I would write every day about my experience. About the person who I met yesterday, I would write today and put it up on a Facebook page called Talk to More People. And that process actually took, like, between actually meeting people and then, writing about it to like prove I did it, it took me usually between 3 and 5 hours every day for this year. So I wouldn't recommend that you do it every day for a year, but you can change your life by just meeting one new person every once in a while. And I'm going to hand these cards to Bob in a moment. This is something called the Talk to More People 30-Day Challenge, which is a free download on my website, talktomorepeople.com, where you can just print off this card. And I can tell you from experience that if you tick off not even every one of these boxes for a month, but if you take this card and use it as an excuse to meet someone, because you say, I heard this guy Tony sharing some words and some stories, and he said that it would be good for my mental health and for my wellness to meet a new person. Would you mind having a chat? Use this as a little prop. You will bring new people into your life who can positively and possibly profoundly transform your life. So this is an invitation I have for you, is to take this card. If you like, you can tick a box every day for a month, or you can just do it once in a while. But I'll just ask you to take one, Bob, and then pass one, take one, pass it on. There's more at the table here if we run out. And you can use that card as your excuse to meet some people. So in winding down, I'd like to share that, once again, just to summarize, that being present is one of the best things we can do for ourselves. That is also one of the best tools that you can use to bring new people into your life. And doing so doesn't have to take a lot of time, it doesn't have to take a lot of thought, but it does take some intention. So as you wander out into the world and you have some more gift exchanges with people, I also invite you to consider how, even if it's a little uncomfortable to start meeting new people, that you keep in mind that in doing so, you are offering your gifts and you are creating that beautiful gift exchange. So I thank you sincerely for your time today and for your attention and for your presence. And we'll continue with the program, I believe, just now with a little bit of a meditation. Actually, Bob, shall I start straight off the gate? Shall I start that meditation just now?
Yes, I'm just going to sing a little verse here.
Lovely.
Here and now, I am peace. Here and now, I am love. Here and now, I am joy. Here and now. Here and now, you are peace. Here and now, you are love. Here and now,
to lead about a 5-minute meditation, and I thought today, because I love breathing, I thought today we could do some work with our breath, and on that actually, I highly recommend the book by James Nestor called Breath, which is just incredible. So check that out if you're interested in that resource of it. And to get us breathing, I thought today we'd do just about 2 minutes of kind of an Om circle, followed by some silence. And I am going to time us, and I'll open with the bowl, then I'll start with an Om, and I invite you to join. And I invite you to use your voice as much as you feel comfortable, and not to feel that you keep your Om quiet so that you don't overpower your neighbor. This is a moment to Om as loud as you feel like it, which might not be loud, but whatever you feel comfortable with. So I'll start with the bowl, and then I'll bring us in with the Om circle, and I'll ting the bowl as well to wind us down. This bowl, by the way, comes from Vanessa.